On this episode of Birding Hotspots, we're heading to the capital city of the Northern Territory, Darwin, where we'll visit 3 different locations and look at some amazing bird life. During this video, I'll show you birds that you might see if you come for a visit. Our first stop is about a 50-minute drive from the city, Fogg Dam, where nearly 250 species of bird have been identified. My main targets for this location were some finches, some flycatchers and some whistling ducks. The Crimson Finch can be found throughout much of northern Australia. They have been known by a couple of other names, including blood finch and killer finch, derived from its tendency for aggressive behaviour towards other red birds. Pied herons can generally be found in the northern parts of Australia. I had seen 1 or 2 before in Cape York, but in Fogg Dam there was plenty of them to see. We saw 3 different species of kingfisher on this trip. This is the sacred kingfisher, our most common kingfisher found throughout the country. Fogg Dam is a great place to see flycatchers. This is the Paperbark Flycatcher, once considered a subspecies of the restless flycatcher. Now it's its own species and is generally found around these parts of Australia. Here we get our first look at the Comb-crested Jacana, a bird I really want to get great photos of. This is a juvenile, which we got reasonable views of. Later on in the video, we'll have a good look at an adult. Our second kingfisher is the forest kingfisher, found throughout northern and eastern Australia. There are two subspecies, with this northern subspecies having less turquoise on the back. At the far end of Fogg Dam is the Pandanus Lookout. Climbing to the top of the lookout gives you great views of the dam and beyond. Looking out across the dam, we could see large numbers of a species of duck that I really wanted to get photos of. Can you tell what they are? These are plumed whistling ducks. Found throughout most of Australia, they are in high concentrations at the top end. There are 8 species of whistling duck found throughout the world. These ones are easily identified by their beautiful plumes coming off their flanks. We'll have a closer look at the plumed whistling duck later on in the video, along with the wandering whistling duck. And you'll hear whistling ducks don't quack. They have a high-pitched whistle. From the lookout, we also got great views of a varied triller. Trillers are smaller members of the cuckoo shrike family. These birds are generally found in the northern parts of Australia, and they have also been known as the pied caterpillar eater, so I guess they like to eat caterpillars. As well as another look at the Paperbark Flycatcher, we get to see another Northern Australia specialist, the broad-billed flycatcher. They look similar to a leaden flycatcher, except from the underside you can see they have a broader bill. And they have slightly lighter feathers on their face. We're now at the other end of Fogg Dam, where there's a beautiful 2-kilometre hike through through a paperbark forest, and a whole lot of different birds to see. Just before leaving Fogg Dam, we had quite a few magpie geese come in for a showing. They are quite unmistakable, with their black and white plumage and their yellowish legs. Interestingly, their feet are only partially webbed. They can be found throughout a lot of Australia, but they are definitely more common in the tropical areas of Northern Territory and Queensland. We also got a quick look at some Rajah shelduck. We'll have a closer look at these birds later on in the video. We're now going to leave Fogg Dam and head for a brief visit to McMinn's Lagoon, where I heard there's a good chance of seeing some green pygmy goose. The lakes, dams and lagoons around Darwin are the best places in Australia to see the green pygmy goose. Being quite wary of humans, I found it tricky to get a good photo, and especially in the middle of the day with all the heat haze, but I got some reasonable shots. An unexpected bonus find at the lagoon was the rainbow pitter, Australia's only endemic pitter. I was quite excited to find this one because it completed my trilogy of Australian pitters. Earlier last year we spotted the South Papuan pitter, and earlier this year we found the noisy pitter. We're now heading west of Darwin to Corroboree Billabong, where together with Paul Thompson from Wild Photo Tours, we took a cruise along the Mary River to look at all the wildlife. The Billabong is probably best known for its large collection of saltwater crocodiles, and plus there's plenty of birds to look at here too. We're going to start our adventure at first light. The Mary River and Corroboree Billabong have the largest concentration of saltwater crocodiles in the world. Crocodiles here live for up to 70 years and grow to about 5 metres in length. A fully grown adult can weigh as much as 1,000 kilograms. Saltwater crocodiles are at the top of the food chain and are not to be messed with. Their typical prey includes smaller reptiles, turtles, fish and birds. However, they won't be scared of backing down against larger prey, including livestock, buffaloes and people. We also saw a couple of freshwater crocodiles, also known as freshies. Not as big as their saltwater cousins, and definitely not as dangerous to humans. After enjoying some speedboating and looking at some crocodiles, it's now time to float peacefully along the river and enjoy some bird watching. White-bellied sea eagles can be found throughout coastal Australia and Southeast Asia. They were in great numbers in the Billabong, generally perched high in a tree, looking for their next meal. We even got to see a juvenile in its giant nest. Just like at Fogg Dam, the plumed whistling duck was relatively common at Corroboree Billabong. They are quite a large duck, up to 60 centimetres tall, and weighing around 1 kilogram. Unlike other ducks, they don't die for their food. Plumed whistling ducks graze on tropical grasses. They pluck the grass for the seeds, generally at night time. It was also cool to see some wandering whistling ducks. They're not as widespread as the plumed, and they're generally found in the northern parts of Australia. The white-browed crake can be tricky to find, let alone take photos of, let alone get some video. We were lucky to find one crake dashing across the lily pads. Apologies for the shaky video, pretty tricky on a moving boat. The white-browed crake can be found throughout Southeast Asia and the top end of Australia. They have an interesting diet, consisting of earthworms, slugs, leeches, insects, water spiders, small fish, seeds, leaves of aquatic plants, and frog spawn. One species I was keen to get great photos and views of was the Comb-crested Jacana, also known as the lotus bird. Their most striking features are their fleshy red wattles covering the top of their head, and their long legs with extremely long toes, perfect for allowing them to walk on the floating vegetation. A bonus experience while watching the jacanas was seeing a striated heron doing a spot of fishing. The fish seems to be a barred grunter, native to northern Australia but introduced to parts of Queensland and New South Wales, where they've actually been declared a noxious species. The azure kingfisher was the third kingfisher we saw on our adventure to the top end. Watch for my next video where we get a good look at this bird having a feed of some fish. Taking photos from the boat allowed us to get really close to some Raja shelduck. In Australia, they are found across the top end. The shelducks form long-term bonded pairs, and they are usually encountered in lone pairs or small flocks. A fun fact is during the rainy season, the males commonly become irritable and have been observed attacking their mates. We'll be finishing this video with two of the tallest birds found in the Billabong. First up is the black-necked stork that can be found in quite large numbers up here. One behaviour you might observe is the greeting dance, where one bird walks up to the other, extends their wings and flutters their wingtips rapidly. I hope you've enjoyed this adventure with me up to the top end of Australia. If you're looking to do a boat trip on the Corroboree Billabong, definitely look up Paul Thompson from Wild Photo. I'll put his contact details in the description.